Let's do this.
Let's do it. All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. I just want to keep a kind of a tab on what's going on YouTube. Awesome. Send me some messages on YouTube. Tell me that you can hear us, that you could see us. Welcome, everyone. Go to the live stream. Hi there. Okay. Carooster is here and Isabel is there. Carmen, hello. Lisa, welcome. All right. Marvelous. Okay, well, let us begin. Welcome, everybody, to another Conversations with Anne-Marie. My name is Anne-Marie, the Art of Healing. I have again and again, my dear friend, Carol Morgan, my sweet soul sister. Hi, Yvonne. Beautiful. Good to see you. Peeps are coming in, as Carol likes to say, for her live streams. That's so awesome. So first and foremost, I have my dear friend Carol Morgan here, and this is the third time that I have had her on my humble little YouTube channel over the past couple years. She was my very, very first person that I had on when I first did the Get Up and Go show, which was seems like eons ago. The Holy Spirit or Spirit dropped into my head this idea that I need to get on and interview people and keep community going during COVID. And Carol was the first one to say yes. She was really the first one that I wanted to interview too. So it all worked out great. I've had her on before, but I'm bringing her on. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm going to chat and say something. Hi, love, Liz. Woo. Okay, now I'm on there. I'm bringing her on today, and I'm doing it live because I really think that she has some experience that needs to get out to more people than just the people in her group. And this has always been a role of mine in my life. I have always been the person to put people together. When I was an artist, a performer, somebody would say, I need a violinist. I'm like, okay, I know somebody. Boom, boom, boom. I hook people up. I'm always that kind of person. And this occasion is my way of putting together my spiritual family and my star family. Okay, so I am merging the two together today. Carol Morgan is an extraordinary human being. She's an inspiration to many, many people, and myself included. She is a channel for a blue avian being named Xina. Now, I will allow her to explain that to you, but I want to bring that to the fore. And first of all, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to welcome you. Welcome, my sweet friend Carol, to Conversations with Anne-Marie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And it's always lovely to be with you. It's always a pleasure to be here with everyone. And yes, it's an honor. So thank you very much for having me.
Well, I'm just thrilled to have you here. As you can tell, Carol and I are both wearing these beautiful t-shirts.
Xina Couture.
Xina Couture. Okay, so the first thing I want to get out there, I want you to talk about is how in the heck did you become a channel for a blue avian being? Now, you and I both knew about blue avians because of Corey Good. I know that for a fact. So please take it away.
Yes, I didn't know much about the blue avians. And I think that this was, I know that this was a response to my husband's incessant quest for truth. My husband has always been interested in extraterrestrial life and everything Bigfoot and mystical and mythical and alternative and conspiracy and whatnot. And he's been the one that has been after this for a very long time. So for me, it actually came by association.
Mhm.
In 2018 in Taiwan, I was there with Tina Louise Spalding, with whom I work, and she was leading a meditation that Jesus was actually channeling through her. And in this meditation, we were to walk towards a being that was going to give us a message. And when I did this, I approached something that was way too large to be human. And I could see him, but I could not. And I see him because it felt like a male energy, although I couldn't really make it out.
Mhm.
And when I approached him, I knew it was not of this world. I knew it was an extraterrestrial being. It was a very short encounter. In that meditation, he had a message for me, and the message was, you are on your way to changing the world. And after he gave me that message, boom, I felt myself back in my body. So now I understand that that was my first and so far my only out of body experience. That was very interesting. It was something that I wasn't expecting. It was something that I had never experienced. So it was something that I didn't really understand. And as soon as I came out of that meditation, I started channel writing, and basically that was them. They introduced themselves as the Blue Avian. I
Wow.
say him and I say them because it's a collective consciousness.
Right.
And there are points of focused consciousness that comes through a Xina, which is one aspect of this collective consciousness. But really, they are the Blue Avians. And I don't know a lot about them. I am on a need to know basis, really. I am curious enough to be able to do this work. I am naive enough to be able to say, oh, okay, sounds good. But because it feels good, it feels right. And I don't doubt it. I don't question a lot. When I question, it is for the sake of just expanding knowledge, not just, oh, okay, where am I from? But to be honest with you, to me, it doesn't matter where I'm from. What I know is that I'm here now, and I know that I am part of their mission, which is to help humanity in its ascension. So that's a very short version of a story that has evolved since September of 2018.
Wow. That's incredible. Now, can you kind of go over what have you discovered about who you are, and what is your, I know you touched on it, but what is your mission, and what are you doing to bring their message to humanity?
It's very interesting because who I am and what I'm doing here is not something that came to me just one day and boom, oh, okay, everything is clear.
Right.
It has been a progression, and it has been a process of surrender. And as Xina always says, surrender doesn't mean give up. It means to allow and to accept radically what you have already created. So that's how it has evolved for me. It's been very interesting because I now have the knowledge that I am Xina's sister. But when I started and I just was hearing this voice, basically, I didn't know what my role was. So first I heard the voice, but it was in my own voice. I don't know, Anne-Marie,
Right.
what happens to you, but it was an evolution. First it was in my own voice. Then I could actually hear the voice. And eventually I learned that I am his sister, that I am a wanderer or a starseed, whatever term you want to put to it. I didn't know what a starseed was. And one day I was driving to work. I was still working in corporate at the time. And my husband, Scotty, sent me a video of Corey Good being interviewed by this English gentleman. I don't remember his name. He interviews channels. So it was more directed towards his spiritual experience rather than his secret space
His
program.
last name was Moore, right?
I believe so.
Moore.
Very tall
I don't
gentleman.
remember what his first. If somebody in the chat knows who that is, just go ahead and type it in there. Henry Moore, I think. I don't remember.
Henry doesn't sound right, but anyway, British gentleman, great interview, and he wanted to focus on his spiritual experience. And when Corey started talking about star seeds, I just started bawling in the car. I'm like, what is a star seed? So I called Scotty, like, what is a star seed? So he explained it to me, like, I think I'm one of those. So that has been now confirmed. I am a star seed. I am a wanderer, which is a being that goes from project to project, if you will. Earth is a project, goes from project to project, helping out, helping people ascend. In people is a very limiting term. Helping beings progress, helping beings ascend. Some beings have gotten stuck in certain realms, and wanderers come in, not necessarily with any karma to evolve, not necessarily with any karma to release or to balance, but for service to others. So I understand now that I am one of those wanderers, and that is part of my mission. I also now understand, as of very recently, through a health situation that I went through with a tooth, that I am a hybrid as well, meaning I am a mixture between extraterrestrial and human. So my body as a human does not respond like the regular human body does. So that's what I heard.
I definitely want to talk about that a little bit later in the interview. We're going to touch on this because really that's the meat of why I brought you here today, is to talk about this particular experience that you just had. But before we move on to that, I just want to say to the people who are on live, if you have questions, we will take them, not at this very moment, but go ahead and if you want to. Hello, Dawn. Thank you for coming in. Hello, everyone. I see Leah there, Sherry, Tina, Galati, Ruth, Irene, Sherry, Saunders, Elise, Yuvonda, Lisa Bain. Hello, my friends. Who else? Marion, Gina, Marianne Howard. Hello, Dr. Maria Salas. Welcome. Bienvenida. Dawn is here. All right, cool. Those are only the people that are on the chat. I know there are a few more online. Thank you for being there, everybody. So before we get on to the real meat of it, because I've got lots and lots and lots of questions about this, it profoundly impacted me. Go ahead and talk a little bit about this merchandise. What are these drawings, these products that you are bringing forth, and what is their purpose?
Thank you for asking, Anne-Marie. These are called energy attunements, and these are drawings that I started channeling in 2018. I wasn't an artist, and I say wasn't because now I own it. I am the one that is transmitting them. Obviously, they are not generating from me, but I am transmitting them. They come from the Blue Avians. And what these do is that they basically clear the way for you to experience energy at its fullest. They're different from an upgrade in the sense that they don't require your consent. They are energetic attunements that clear the way, clear the gook is how I like to put it, so that you can experience energy and understand energy at your best ability. We use only a very small percentage of our abilities here on Earth, and this helps open that up, especially when it comes to energy.
Amazing. So tell us why he goes by Xina Allen.
That is the cutest story ever. So I had the name Xina from the get-go. September 23rd of 18 is when I met him in this out-of-body experience. And right away he said, my name is Xina. I am Xina, or my name is Xina indeed. He's not Xina, that is just a name. Mm-hmm. The name is unnecessary. They just give it to us so that we are able to identify what energy is transmitting, what energy is trying to communicate with us. But they're telepathic beings. That's how they communicate with me. I don't need to be in trance, and they don't need names because they are telepathic. But they use a name for our benefit. Xina was it. The actual pronunciation really began when they were communicating with the Mayans. It's an X, it's Xina, and it's really pronounced Xina. But when I started reading it, when they communicated with me, I wrote down Xina. I pronounced it Xina, and that stuck. So Xina in Allen came from a drawing that my son, at the time he was, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. It was around Thanksgiving, and he drew a Thanksgiving picture. He added everything that he was grateful for in the picture, and he wrote Xina Alien, and he misspelled alien, and it was Allen. So when I looked at the drawing, I'm like, who's Xina Allen? And he says, Mommy, that is alien. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is hysterical. And I don't know, a couple of weeks later, I had a little event at home where I channeled him, and he said, Xina Allen, that is going to be my new name, and I love it. And basically, this name has become a pseudonym for us to put this work out in the world. I had the pleasure of meeting 3 beautiful beings that I'm in partnership with that are helping me and Xina create beautiful merchandise, beautiful artifacts, beautiful art to put out in the world for people to enjoy and for people to benefit from.
The last thing I want you to tell people about is, why is it only black, white, and gray?
What a great question. And a lot of people don't ask that. Xina says that color does not exist. We interpret color, but all there is the absorption and the reflection of light. So that is why these are in black and white. There is, and he says that between the absorption and the reflection of light, there is an infinite symphony of gray in between. You know, we tend to be so yes or no because we are experiencing a realm of duality here. Bad, good, dark, light, cold, hot. That's how we experience this realm. But there is an infinite amount of possibilities in between. So that's what gray is, and that's why they are the way they are. And we at that point, when we learned this, we had a partner that said, oh my gosh, we should add all these colors. We should have pink t-shirts and green t-shirts. And so they went ahead and they put them on the website. And when I came in, I just had this jarring no. I'm like, why not? I think they're so cool. And Xina's answer was, well, that is the difference between an attuning t-shirt and a cool t-shirt. So in order for them to be effective, they need to be black, white, or gray.
Interesting. All right. I'm blown away by that. Of course, I'm an artist and color is all I do. And I love color. Well, I do black and white too, but you know the point. One of these days we got to ask Xina to talk about color, just so he can validate my existence as an artist. Oh my God. Okay. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to the real juicy meat and why we're here today. Carol, you know, I'll shut up. Go ahead. Talk. Say it.
Well, I will talk. I have been a corporate worker my entire adult life. That was everything and anything that I wanted to do in my life. I wanted to climb the corporate ladder. I wanted to immerse myself in capitalism, and I wanted to make a lot of money. I've always considered myself a genuine human being and a caring human being, and I've always considered myself a nice person. Mm-hmm. But in that sense, I was very superficial because I just had that one mission, was to make a lot of money. And then I did. I went ahead and I set forth to do that, and I got it done. And I realized in my 30s that I was not happy. I was actually quite miserable. I crashed in my 30s. It opened up my spiritual awakening, if you will. and I started transforming my life. Everything went to hell in 2011. And since 2011, I have been now on this path to awakening in what I call the fast track. And that fast track led me to start creating a spiritual business in tandem with my corporate career. So the last 3 years, if not four, actually four, I have been working like there's no tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I really felt not only the need to prove to myself that I could do this and that I could make a living out of this, but also that I could actually help people, which is what I felt I was really here for. So I was doing a lot. I was working a lot. Last August, I decided to jump off corporate, and that was a very, very big and scary step for me. I had a great job. It was very well paying. I was comfortable. I was not happy, but I was very comfortable. And I'm thinking that a lot of you can relate to that comfort that, well, the seeming comfort that the check every 2 weeks brings to you. Right. I jumped off and I started working even harder. So I was working, and I was just really focused on helping a lot of people. I could not say no. The more I immersed myself in this work, the more suffering I realized there is in the world, the more I felt that I had to be there, that I had to perform, and that my value as a human being was tied with how much I was producing. Really, I really felt that was true. In the midst of all of this, it became very clear to me that one of my incarnations that I am very aware of as a Dakota woman was coming forth and more forward, and it started bleeding into this timeline. And I realized that I needed to move to the Black Hills. So I made it a mission. And in a matter of months, although I've wanted to move to the Black Hills for years, in a matter of months, I turned my life around, not only based on guidance and on that feeling and knowing that I belong here, but on the very open channeling that I received at the peak of Black Elk Peak in South Dakota, the Black Hills, from the Sky Elders that let me know that I needed to be here, that my life within 6 months of their prediction was going to look very different. And so it was.
Can you discuss the connection between your Lakota self and the Blue Avians, please? Mm-hmm. Because
yes,
that's fascinating.
So my Lakota self is my higher self. In her name, my name is Spirit of the Wind. I learned this through various sources, and it was also an evolution. I have started becoming one with that timeline. It's very interesting. It has evolved, but the Blue Avians are very connected to the native, let us say, tribes of humanity throughout many, 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 many centuries. It's not just as short as human history tells us to be. They have been involved with the ancient Egyptian tribes. They have been involved with the Mayans. I didn't know this until recently, but they were also involved with the Incas, and they were involved with all the tribes of the Native Americans. The Lakota came front and center because of this incarnation that I became aware of, but also because I learned 2 years ago in March, I believe it was, that their command center is here in the Black Hills. It is already here, but it is just outside of our perception, so we can't see it. And it can't really coexist with our reality, the same density, because it would clash.
Right.
But it is just slightly. When I saw it, I saw a hand, an extraterrestrial hand, turning up a dial. So it's just slightly outside of our perception, but it is 6th density, so it's definitely a higher vibration, higher frequency than what we are. So that's what brought me to the Black Hills. As I said, very quickly, it got me here. And we bought land in March. Let me think this through. We bought land here in the Black Hills in February. Right after that, I found a house, this house where I am right now, to rent, which was another miracle orchestrated by the Blue Avians, because there is nothing for rent here. And I happened to find a 3-bedroom home that accepted pets, and I have 3 dogs. So that was a miracle in and of itself. Then came the move. We actually sold our house, private agreement to a couple that is just absolutely excited and loving the house. He works with my husband, Scott. And we moved here, the kids and I. Scotty's still in Minnesota, wrapping up his job. And we had a retreat here in the hills. Mm-hmm. And as I am up there with 16 other beautiful souls, the Blue Avians, the Sky Elders, and Spirit of the Wind let us know that that was the highest our frequency has ever been when we were up there. And everything that has led to that moment, that was the highest. So I found myself high in life, loving the idea that I was here. And then that was a Thursday. On Saturday, I go ahead and I back into a retreat attendee's car as I was leaving. And from then on, a whole chain of events just broke loose that I didn't have any idea what it was about. No idea.
I'm going to stop you right there, because then I'll continue. We'll continue in just a moment. Here is me, Anne Marie. Now, I've known this beautiful soul for a few years now. I follow her because I'm a member of her spiritual community as well. And it comes down that she hasn't, I know for a fact that you've had dental problems before, because when you and I were at Dimensions of Disclosure in 2019, right? Was that 2019? The same night that you met Corey Good, the same night that you presented him with an attunement, you had a dental problem, a tooth came out. So I knew that you had issues, dental issues. But me as being, being spiritual, you think, okay, if you have high vibe, you're supposed to, your experiences are going to match that vibration. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing that Carol has a really bad toothache. She's got a bad infection. Things are not going good. So right there, that kind of shifted me. And also, Tina was going through another very grave illness. And like both of my spiritual mentors are in physical suffering. So in my mind, I'm like something cracked, because I was like, wait a minute, everything is supposed to be, you're supposed to experience good things. At least that's what I thought. So please continue to talk about this, because this was really, it really shifted the sand underneath my feet when both you and Tina were going through this.
And it did to a lot of people, which is why I decided last week that I needed to come out and share the experience and process what it is that I learned in public. Mm-hmm. And when you invited me, I said yes, very, very honored and very excited, because I really do believe that this is an example of how we don't understand reality whatsoever, and how, as the Course in Miracles says, we don't know what anything is for.
And, it is so true. It is so very true. We tend to attach ourselves to things that really are not true. And there tends to be, and this happened, I've heard people say, oh God, Tina's sick, Carol's sick. What did they do wrong? Like, what's going wrong with them? So there's like a judgment that was heaped on top of illness. So maybe we need to clear out this, and please keep going, because we have to clear out this concept of illness as punishment.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I just want to put that out there. So continue.
This is going to be a long story,
Yeah.
but without every single piece, you're not going to truly understand how it all came together. So I'm going to go through the long story. When I backed up into Sherry's car, I had an option. I had a choice. I could either swirl down in energy and lower my frequency by blaming either myself or Sherry that had parked behind me in a dark place. I could have blamed the circumstances. I could have chosen at that moment to become the victim of what was happening, or to say, oh, okay, well, there must be purpose in this. And because I don't know what anything is for, I'm just going to surrender. It is what it is. I already did this. I got out of the car. I examined the damage. My car it had a dent. It was dented. Her bumper for her rental car was damaged. It was pretty dented. So I went inside the retreat home. I pulled her aside and I said, I am so sorry. I just backed into your car. Rest assured that tomorrow I will give you my insurance information and this will be taken care of. I apologize. She was very gracious and she said, don't worry about it. And off they went. At the same time that I was leaving, my husband Scott was leaving on his truck that he had just bought, and he had driven from Minnesota to the Black Hills. I like to follow Scotty when we're driving, especially in the hills. At night, you see nothing. It is dark out here. And I was following him, and we got to a point where there was another white pickup truck that got between us. And I remember feeling a little frustrated because it was going really slow, like too slow for the circumstances. And I lost Scotty. It wasn't a big deal. I knew exactly where I was, but I like to stay close by, etc. Cell signal here is very sketchy. But anyway, I just went with it. And then I made note that this car was waving. It was overcorrecting. It was braking when there was nothing in front. So I figured they're under the influence and drinking, whatever. It doesn't matter. I realized that something was up. Then again, I surrendered. I'm like, well, it is what it is. So I just went slower until finally we made it to the freeway and away I went. Let's set that aside. At night, I am here a couple of days later, I believe it was, and all of a sudden, you guys, I went from being completely okay to being completely miserable in a toothache that was so intense that it was completely debilitating. I couldn't even think. In the middle of the night, I was actually on my phone trying to find or trying to figure out, do I find a holistic dentist here in South Dakota? Because everything that started my mouth issues was mercury in old crowns that I had. And Anne-Marie, when I met Corey Good, right after talking to him, I came into the buffet, grabbed a little quiche, bit into it, and broke a crown. And that was what revealed that there was mercury in my mouth. Well, so I was looking for, answers. Do I go to Minnesota? I don't know any dentist here. He knows my case. Do I look for somebody here? Well, it was quite a miserable night. I found a dentist in Wyoming, in Gillette, an hour and a half from here. That is a biological dentist, everything that I want done with my mouth, no chemicals, no anything. And sure enough, out of a miracle, they were able to take me. Oh, this was a Wednesday. They were able to take me on Monday. So I was miserable all weekend. I went to my appointment on Monday and they said there is a significant infection on that side. And we don't recommend root canals. That is part of what a biological dentist will not do. And I was aware I had already had a tooth extracted for the same reason. And he said, so basically what we recommend is another tooth extraction. So I said, well, let's do it. An opening became available Wednesday. This was Monday. Wednesday I go. They do the Novocaine. There is no way that I'm going to have a tooth extracted without medication. And they weren't able to remove it because every time they went in, I could feel everything they were doing. And they yanked 3 times.
Oy.
And I could hear the cracks, and the tooth wasn't coming out. It was gruesome.
I'm sorry.
So he says, this is a very strange case. I have tried everything. This does not make sense. We can go for a week of antibiotics, another week of antibiotics, and see if the infection calms down, and we can do this. To make the story a little shorter, they tried again. It didn't work. By the 3rd time, I had to go under sedation. Fortunately, I didn't have to go completely under because I understand that as a hybrid, I should not lose consciousness if I can avoid it, and definitely not by artificial means. I am very quick at altering my state of consciousness naturally. So definitely that's not a good thing. So anyway, they were able to extract the tooth. I come home and I am completely miserable. It was so painful. I've given birth to 2 children, and that was nothing. I've had broken bones. I've had horses fall on me, drag me, step on me, bite me, kick me. And I have never been in pain like I was with this tooth. So I was in pain for 30 days. In those 30 days, and it's still not 100%. Talking still hurts. I developed an ulcer where they put all the Novocaine injections on the inside of the gum. I still hurt, but it's healing. The hole is healing, and I am just going with it. But it's been quite an experience. So anyway, in those 30 days, I learned. At first, I didn't know what this was for, and I did not care. Wow. Simply, I did not care. I was just focused on survival. I was just focused on dealing with the pain and making it through the day. My kids were the ones that were helping. They were biking to the grocery store, bringing stuff, biking to McDonald's and all kinds of food that humans should not be eating. I'm a health coach. I'm like, you know what? The health coach principles are going out the freaking window. We're eating whatever. Bring it to me. And anyway, through those 30 days, that's what I did. I survived. Wow. While I was going through this, every single human emotion, fear, belief, limitation, scarcity consciousness, everything that we consider negative came up. All of it. And I started understanding that part of the reason why this was happening was because I needed to stop. And this is my main message to people, other than we don't know what anything is for, and we truly do not understand reality, but we need to stop. It's not even slowing down. Slowing down is no longer an option. The reason why I say this is because Earth, I have learned, is in an area of the system, of the galaxy, let's call it, that is of higher frequency. If we understand energy as vibration, it is vibrating faster. That means time has accelerated. That means energy is magnified. So if there are unloving thoughts in you, if there are unloving beliefs, if there is anything unloving that has gotten stuck in your body, mind, spirit complex, it's going to be magnified. So slowing down is not an option anymore. You need to be more focused. You need to be more conscious. You need to be more intent in what you are doing. And this is if you are going like I was. Maybe you are already through this, maybe already figured it out, and you feel golden because you are smoothly sailing. I discovered that through this. I also discovered that the pain that I was feeling was serving a purpose.
Can I, before you move on to that, I wanted to ask you, and now it just went right out of my head because you're going to go forward on that thing. There was a point that I really, Spirit, just drop it back in for me, please. Oh, come on. Repeat what you had just said right before. So maybe, because it was an important point. I just have no brain anymore. It's gone.
Well, I was saying that
I know what it was. Okay, so Carol, you have started kind of this breaking free movement as well. So could you kind of say that you broke free from one sort of matrix and created another one for yourself?
Yes, I would say that is accurate to an extent. I believe that it was simply an extension. We break free from the layers of what we are not. That's basically it. We are love and we are light. That is it. Anything other than that are layers that we put, that we cover ourselves with in order to have this very particular experience in a body. And it's all for a purpose. It's experience, it's expansion, it's growth. If we remembered that we are an aspect of God mind, that we are love and that we are light, we wouldn't be experiencing this realm of dualism. We wouldn't be expanding. We would just be God, which is why God seemingly separated itself in all these aspects, which is to experience. So we forget and we put layer upon layer upon layer as we grow up, whether it be via conditioning, whether it be programming, social learning, etc. We just cover ourselves up in gook. And when we break free from a layer, and then we do it again, and then we do it again. But if we don't do it, we get stuck, or we feel that we get stuck. We don't feel like we're evolving. We feel miserable. We feel broken.
That's one of the things. Well, I broke free. I kind of broke free. I will finally break free. I think of my, I don't even know if it applies anymore. Because I will be retiring from my teaching job in November. And I'm actually back here in New York, as many of my followers know, because I am going to sell this house and I'm going to close this energetic loop with New York. And I'm going to just finish this. But it's important, I think, to really point out, especially for me, because I'm leaving one system and I don't want to recreate a system in my new way of living. So to be a healer, to be a channel, to do this energetic work, to do this kind of work, I don't want to create another system that causes the same shackles. Let's just say, just in a different form. But I digress. Continue, because this part is really important.
Yes, and actually breaking free, really, it's part of what that pain was serving. As I was saying, it served a purpose. I broke free from my corporate job. I broke free from the belief that I couldn't do this. I broke free from so many things that landed me here. But this area, the Black Hills of South Dakota, are a sacred area. And they are very low gravity, which is awesome. And they are high frequency, which is also very awesome. I learned that the frequency of the lifestyle that I was living in Minnesota was not a match for South Dakota. So I had to have a complete dead stop to release the momentum. So if you think of an avalanche, the snowball is coming and it's becoming bigger, and there's got to be a stop before there is destruction at the bottom. The pain was that wall that stopped everything, so that I had the opportunity to reassess.
To recalibrate yourself.
Recalibrate, reassess, and change my mind, because that pace, that lifestyle, all the beliefs that I had brought from that weren't going to work out here. So I had another layer of breaking free. And I will talk more about breaking free at the end of the pain story, because that is part of my mission and the mission of my business partners. So the pain stopped me. Purpose number one. As I stopped, first I was able to see what I had brought with me that had no place in this new life. And also ideas and beliefs that still existed in me at an even deeper level that needed to come out. Anne-Marie, to address your question of if there is a being that is high frequency, you think that everything should be hunky-dory, you shouldn't get sick, you shouldn't suffer, you shouldn't have this. Yes, suffering is something that is completely optional. Pain is not. It comes as part of this incarnation. But suffering, which is your idea, your perception in how you live through that experience, that is indeed optional. So all of it.
Wow.
All of
Suffering
it
is optional, pain is not. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is big. That is big. Go ahead. Sorry. Just my mind blown. Keep going. Keep going.
Awesome. So basically, we need to understand, as spiritual beings, as spiritual seekers, as spiritual students, we need to understand that if we are doing the work, the inner work, we're going to uncover the shit. It's going to come up. It's going to come up for you to evaluate, for you to address, for you to love it and transmute it to light. So if you are doing your work correctly, things are going to come up. It doesn't mean that if you are spiritual, everything is going to be rainbows and unicorn and Zen-like life in the Himalayas. It is not. Mm-hmm. Unless you choose that path. And the vast majority of us don't. And we don't because if we were in the Himalayas, we wouldn't be encountering the everyday experiences that we encounter that make us grow. So anyway, that was my first question to Xina. Xina, Jesus, Buddha, whoever wants to answer, why in the world, if I was at the highest frequency of my incarnation, did this happen? The answer came in pieces. This is 30 days that I'm talking about, but I learned about that pain that needed to stop me. I had fears in me that I needed to address. The fear of, well, there are people counting on me. There is a spiritual community that counts on me. I had to cancel all my breaking free mentorship sessions. I had to cancel for 6 weeks all of my private channeling one-on-one sessions. I couldn't work for Tina Spalding. I couldn't do anything for my kids. I couldn't do anything. So that feeling, that mother feeling that you have to take care of everyone and that I am letting people down was killing me. I needed to get over that. I needed to get over the idea that I was letting people down and that they are counting on me. What is that? We all have our own guidance system. We all have our experiences to go through. It's not up to me, but I feel I'm going to use the past tense. I felt a great sense of responsibility for everyone that follows. So anyway, that had to come up. The fear of, oh my gosh, is the revenue stream going to stop because I am laid off or laid out or whatever the preposition is? So anyway, I had to address all of that. And I had to address the belief that my value is tied to what I produce. Mm-hmm. All of that was possible because of the pain. Now, the reason why this pain became what it was because there was an agreement between my husband and I in our higher self forms before entering this incarnation that we were going to have this experience where that white pickup truck that got between us was going to hit him and it was going to disable him for the rest of his life. And that was the pain that I had subscribed for. And it was the pain that he had subscribed for. We're not going to go into his reasons. I will stay in mine. His decision when I backed into that car to not get mad at me, which was his MO every time I had an incident or accident of, vehicle nature, he would flip. He would get so mad. Well, he didn't. He said this time, well, babe, that's what insurance is for. So don't worry about it. Let's just go home. It is what it is. That high frequency choice that he made there, paired with the high frequency that he had cultivated, not only up until that point in his life, but also through the retreat that we had, was what altered his blueprint and let go of the need for that lesson. So he didn't crash.
He didn't crash. I want to tell you that particular thing is why I brought you here today, because that choice that Scotty made not to lose his shit in that moment resonated with my life, and getting very emotional. So, and I'll be honest, it kind of put me in a state of fear. Okay, it put me in a state of fear. So I would continue with your story, but for me, that was so impactful because every day we make choices on how to respond. And I deal with my mother that I have been dealing with for my 54 and a half years on this planet. I've been dealing with her personality, and now Spirit has put us together in the same home, and I am taking care of her in her 96 years body and mind. And that choice that each and every one of us has, a frequency choice. Shall I respond with anger, or shall I respond with release? Shall I be in acceptance, or shall I fight? To me, that impacted me so much, Carol. It impacted me so much that now every time I say something and I don't do it consciously, I regret it. And I regret it, and I say to myself, it kind of puts me in a little fear. I'm like, I hope I don't create something in my timeline that's going to bring me anything. So this is my healing for me. It's always been this way with me and my YouTube channel. When shit comes up for me, I bring it to everybody else, because that's how people heal. So this is what you've participated in, what Scotty did, what this incredible lesson is. This is it. And I want you to know that experience and the fact that Scotty, because also my father endured a debilitating accident that left him disabled for the rest of his life. So that occurred in my life, and it changed the dynamic of my family. It was the summer, I just mentioned it today to my friend, it was the summer between 7th and 8th grade.
Wow.
My father was working at Ford, and his feet were kind of tangled in big cable drums, and his foot was ripped. Anyway, for our family, there's always goodness that comes out of bad, right? But that kind of touched a real nerve in me, a real nerve. Okay, so thank God. And I just wanted to get that out there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I will continue.
Please.
There's a fly here. I'm sorry, guys. South Dakota has a lot of flies. So anyway, this is how perfect the universe is.
Yeah.
Our reality is a symphony. Notes match perfectly in a symphony. When Scotty made that choice, it fit the frequency that I had also generated, or that I found myself in, that allowed for me not to suffer or to have that pain that was going to be a different kind of pain in my spirit, mind, body complex. And it allowed me to not have to go through that lesson. So instead, it allowed for this physical pain to be the one that was generated. So I could have been in that bed thinking, okay, I'm a loser of a spiritual being. I have to not let people know what I'm going through, because then they're going to think that I am I'm an imposter here.
You're a fraud. Yeah, exactly.
There was none of that. There was like, okay, well, people need to know about this. It's like, wow, it's perfection. The universe is perfection. So instead of judging the situation as bad, I fell into gratitude. I was miserable. Don't get me wrong. Suckiest experience of my life. But I was in gratitude because I didn't go through that pain and that suffering of seeing Scotty messed up for the rest of his life, because that would have been traumatic. This tooth thing is nothing compared to that. In addition, the pain was exactly what I needed for the dentist not to patch what was going on, but to see exactly what was going on and remove the tooth. Mm-hmm. Xina kept saying foreign materials, foreign materials. If we're not ready to hear a message and to understand it, it's not going to come to us whether we channel or not. Channels, all of us have blockages and blind spots just like any other being does. Right. So all I was hearing was foreign materials, foreign material. What the hell does foreign materials mean? Well, it means that there was materials in that crown that were actually impeding me from doing the talking and from increasing my frequency to the extent that I needed to. So that happened. In addition to all of this, I now learned, because now there's more, Anne-Marie, than there was last week when I had my live. I also learned that I wasn't to leave South Dakota. I was going to go back to Minnesota, and then I was going to go on vacation with a really good friend of mine that has a house in Lake Nebagamon, northern Wisconsin. Well, I learned that I needed to stay immersed in the Black Hills energy. I could not leave. And again, if it wouldn't have been pain, I wouldn't have stopped. I would have gone. Why did I need to be here? When I said earlier in February that we bought land in a subdivision is 637 acres in the middle of National Forest, Black Hills National Forest. We bought 2.5 acres, beautiful piece of property. There is nothing else to it. It's beautiful. We were going to build. However, my true guidance from the get-go said, don't build, buy. This is the worst time, especially here, to build. Worst time. But I thought, well, Scotty wants to build. This is going to get me to the Black Hills. I'm going to do it. So I did it. I went with his guidance, not with mine, but I went with it. Our building has been postponed twice, and now we're talking another 8 months. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a while. Anyway, fast forward, around June 14 or something like that, I see that there is a house that we had already seen in that same subdivision go up for sale, but it was outside of our price range, so we let it go. We saw it come down once, then we saw it come down again. Then it became feasible, high but feasible. I went, I saw it, I loved the land. I fell in love with the land. It's almost 6 acres. It has chickens and a chicken coop. Oh. Who doesn't love chickens? So anyway, I thought, well, this is pretty awesome. Well,
they're birds.
Right, they're birds. And the house is on Finch Court.
Ay. All right.
So anyway, I went, I saw it, I fell in love with it, but I could not move forward with it because Scotty was in Minnesota. I wasn't going to buy a house if Scotty wasn't there. A day later or so, a couple from California came, they made an offer, and the house was sold. A week ago or so, the realtor calls me or texts me and says, Carol, the house is back on the market. The deal for the California couple fell through.
Wow.
I said, okay, well, here's the deal, Mark. The deal is that I can't buy it still if Scotty isn't here. He comes in a week. Let's set up a showing for Monday. This was this last Monday. And if the house is still for sale, then we'll go see it. And if it went, it went. Well, it didn't go. The night before, this is Sunday, I kept Xina, hearing Xina say, foot in the door and answer to your prayers. Foot in the door and answer to your prayers. Cryptic again. So I start noodling on this, and I came to the conclusion that this house is the answer to my prayers because I didn't want to build. And that the way that I got the foot in the door was through buying that property. When we were here, it's blocks away from that property. And actually what is really special about it is that it borders the national forest. So I have thousands of acres as my backyard without having to own them. So I learned from Xina that in May, when I had my retreat here, the beautiful 22 beings that were here helped us bless the land. We had a ceremony there led by two beautiful friends, and we blessed the land. What Xina told me now, after as I was heading to the property, the new house, was that blessing, it didn't matter that it was a different property because property lines are a construct of the human mind. They don't exist.
There you go.
And he said that when we blessed that land, we hit a vein that went straight to the heart of my love territory and opened it for the connection to be made possible.
Wow.
Since then, yesterday, I met the owners. I talked for 3 hours with the lady, talked about intuition, about what I do and whatnot. And she said, you know what, Carol? This house wasn't selling. It wasn't selling. It wasn't selling. And I became desperate. And I actually ended up going to a tarot reader, she said, in Sturgis. And whatever the tarot reader told her made her realize that she was being unreasonable and not grateful for what was going on right, grateful for the opportunity to move to Alaska. And when she changed her mind, that was part of the heart opening that allowed for us to come together, us, Scotty and I, and Jeff and her.
Unbelievable.
So we put out an offer, and she told Jeff, her husband, we're not going to counter. Xina was the one that told me how much to offer. We offered below asking price. Everything here in Marie goes between 50 and 100,000 over asking price. They took the offer, and we just had the most beautiful day with them yesterday. So that is a 30,000 foot view of what happened in those 30 days.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. What a thing. And, you know, I am so grateful. Thank you so much for sharing. And this story, what it teaches us all is really our conscious creation, our conscious choices versus our unconscious knee-jerk reaction, program choices.
Yes.
How much are we really paying attention? How much are we really shedding the light and making the efforts to bringing light onto the planet? The ceremony that you did to your land, you know, the efforts that you did to change where you lived. I mean, a lot of us are finding that. A lot of us are shifting what we thought was our forever home is, you know, we're being called to move. We're being called to change, you know. So that one thing that I had said, yeah, it's a great story, Marianne. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being online. We've got 83 views right now. It's awesome. 84. Yay. Okay. Is it possible to, what I don't want for me, because I know me, I don't want to live in fear. Right? And I've kind of, like I said, it kind of brought me into a little fear territory with the choice that Scotty made and me having so many opportunities to mess up, and we all do. There are people who go to work with people they don't like, and the thoughts that they create. Are you prepared to channel?
Yeah, totally. I can channel.
Prepared to channel. Could you kindly ask? And Xina, I know Xina's here because when I started to journal before, I got my pops in my ears and I started to do my shaking and dancing and all this stuff that I do. So I know Xina's with us. I would like kind of to not be in fear. Totally. And I hope this makes sense.
No, it totally does. Let's see what he has to say.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. My name is Xina. My name is Xina Allen indeed. And what a beautiful communion. What an opportunity. Dear humans, to you we say, these opportunities are beautiful and they are rare. Although they don't need to be, they are rare. Why are they rare? Because you have been raised to keep from the world the real you. You have been trained to create a persona that is going to protect you, protect your heart, protect your soul, protect your identity, and protect the innermost sensitivities of your beingness. But truly, what you do is create those layers that this being was speaking of. And when those layers are created, you do not allow the world to see your light. And when you do not share your light, you prevent others from seeing. You see? So when you are conditioned to be humble, quote unquote, you do not celebrate your magnificence. You don't celebrate your stories of success, your miracles. You keep your miracles from others because you think you're being humble. It is definitely a misplaced sense of humility that causes this. And you don't allow others to enrich their lives from your experience. So what is happening here is that this being is saying, enough of that. This being is very much what you see is what you get. But she has carved another layer of what isn't, and she is coming out saying, this is it. What you see in its human hybrid form, this is it. This is my experience. This is what I'm going through. And I do not need to pretend to be anything other than what I am. I do not need to pretend to be a guru. She doesn't want to be seen as one because she isn't one. I am not above you, she says, because she isn't. She is simply you having a different experience. And she is presenting herself openly, saying, look, dear beings, dear loves, dear sisters, dear brothers, I am you. Whatever I am capable of doing, so are you. So how about we connect with the truth of who we are and live openly, live unapologetically, live vulnerably and raw. Not that persona that has been built up, but truly who you are. So these communions where the truth is spoken in this way without concern for what others might think or how they may judge the one that is communicating are very rare, and they are precious, and they are valuable. They are valuable. So we say to you all that are listening right now in this present moment, and that will listen in future present moments through what you call a recording, congratulations. Congratulations for bringing yourselves, from bringing your beings to this gathering of love and light, of sharing in communion, of openness, and of guidance. Congratulations, because you could be doing anything else right now. You could be anywhere else, and yet you chose to be here. Now that we have gotten this important announcement out of the way, we will address your inquiry, dear being. Well, it is very simple indeed, and we will tell all the beings that are listening to us, the ones that have been privy to our work, and the beautiful beings that have not yet been privy to our work, that our mission with humanity is to help simplify spiritual materials so that you may implement it in your daily lives. You understand, yes, and you chant, and you zen, and you meditate, and yet when you encounter a difficulty of the human condition, whether it be the necessity to pay bills with cash money that you don't have, whether it be illness, whether it be a physical situation or a physical impediment that is making your life more difficult, you do not know what to do. Yes, the theory is there, but how do you implement it in your daily lives? And that is where we come in. And that is where this being comes in helping bring the simplified information and in helping you, dear beings, break free. So what we are wanting to convey to you today, dear loves, is the importance of fear in your lives. It is important. Why is it important? Because fear is not real, and yet you live as it is. Fear is but an idea of your mind, and you continue to choose it over other ideas. And fear is a low frequency idea. It feeds the lower frequencies. Lower frequencies are there, not as an attack to you, not as a judgment to you. And we're going to say this again because it's very important, not as an attack on you, but as a catalyst, an opportunity of expansion and growth, which is, dear human beings, what you are trying to accomplish in this incarnation. Expansion. So if that is the case, if you are here to expand, you need catalysts, but you do not need to feed the lower frequencies. You can use them to catapult yourselves to the next level of your consciousness expansion. Wow, we say, drop that mic, Xina. That is amazing. Yes, it is simple. If you choose fear, you are feeding the lower frequency. Therefore, you are going to create, forget attract. The law of attraction, yes, it exists, but it is misunderstood and it is misapplied, and it is actually used as an excuse. Well, I am not attracting the partner of my life. No, dear being, you are not creating the partner of your life because A, perhaps that's not what is in your highest interest in this incarnation, or B, because you continue to choose otherwise. Unconsciously or consciously, you continue to choose on love versus the unconditional kind of love that is going to allow you to create exactly what you want. So we say to you, dear loves, connect with that truth and create from that centered place of conscious awareness in high frequency. So, dear Anne-Marie, when you feel that you have misstepped, pause and entertain the possibility that that misstep is exactly what you needed, that it is not a misstep, but a step in the direction that you needed to go in to see something unloving in you, something out of order, something that needs to be addressed. And we say out of order between quotes because everything is perfect. So the symphony cannot be out of tune. Take that opportunity to pause and entertain the possibility that there is purpose for what you have just done or what you have just said, and that purpose needs to be explored, and that is the gift of the situation that you find yourself in. Bingo. Right as you do that, you change the frequency. You go up higher because you are not condemning, you are not judging, you are just getting curious and realizing that truly everything that happens in your incarnation is perfect, exactly as it is, and it is for you, not happening to you. So, dear love, when it happens, you pause, you entertain, and you forgive. You forgive yourself for not knowing. You forgive yourself because truly there's nothing wrong that you have done. And you forgive any other self that could have been involved in the situation at hand. We say to you, regret, well, it is futile. Regret is simply a mechanism that lowers your vibration once you have chosen an experience that was there for your frequency shift. That is what regret is, completely futile. So we say to you, when you say something that was unloving and you recognize it, when you do something that feels awful, when you think of something that throws you off, be first compassionate to yourself, be compassionate to whoever is with you, and realize that all indeed is in perfect order. Oh yes, in perfect order, right here. This is our attunement in perfect order. We say to you, look at it, allow it to expand you, allow it to clear the way so that you may see with your eyes wide open of the heart, of the physical body, in your third eye, that truly what you are, dear loves, is God mind. Hallelujah. We will speak again at another time.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah. That was it. That was it. Thank you, my sweet woman. Is there anything from the peanut gallery today? Does anyone have one last question? We've been at it for almost an hour and a half. I'll entertain one little question. Not a channeling one, just anything that wants to come through. Carol, are you okay with that?
Totally.
Okay. All right. I'm just seeing there. Thank yous coming through. Thank you, Sherry. All right. Well, then that is a wrap, my friend.
Awesome.
And what a gift you gave us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Xina. Thank you, all that is. Thank you, everyone who came on to this live. Where does suffering from chronic pain fall? That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
If suffering is optional, but pain is not, where does suffering from chronic pain fall? That's a good one.
Yes, it is a good one. But you know what? That is above my pay grade. So I'm going to let Xina answer that.
All right.
My name is Xina. My name is Xina Allen indeed. And it is perfect that this dear being inquires because, well, we are trying to convey the message that this reality is not what you think. We are going to explain to you beings, as we often do to the beings that listen to us in our transmissions often, that you come here with a blueprint. It is a plan that you make before this incarnation and after the previous one. There is a period of regeneration. There is a period of, let us say, reconfiguration and recalibration, where you examine how an existence in a particular configuration went and what you would like to accomplish for your next one. In that period, you decide what it is that you want to experience. You do not plan every single move, thought, word, or deed in your incarnation, you give yourself milestones. The milestone that this dear being had of having a tragic accident in her reality and having the opportunity or not to suffer from that was an experience that, although was included in the blueprint, she transcended by making the conscious choice of elevating her frequency. So it fell away. It came in a different form. However, it could very well be that for that particular incarnation, that being needed that particular experience, and it wasn't going to go away. It very well could have been. That often happens, well, because the being needs to catapult itself to the next level of consciousness evolution, or because, and write this down well, dear being, the choices, the accumulation of choices that the being has made during the incarnation using its free will have not amounted to the frequency that the being would need in order to overcome the need for that lesson. So we can have chronic pain as something that it is in the blueprint and it is to be experienced because the higher self knows the value of that experience, or because the choices have not amounted to the frequency that is needed in order to avoid that, or let's say transcend, not avoid, because you do not learn through avoidance. You learn through transcendence. That is our answer, dear being. We hope it satisfies your curious human mind.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, my sweet friend. Thank you for your time. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We've got about 50 people online at this time. We've had about 91 come through. I am thrilled to do this. Thank you, everyone. Carol, where can people find you?
Before I can say where they can find me, I want to thank you. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for being so gracious. Thank you for being my friend. You are one of the friends that came to my my rescue, let us say, and that was another gift, the opportunity to receive your channeling of light language, your channeling of healing codes, your love in general was very well received. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you listening. You can find us at XinaAllen.com. That is XinaAllen.com. You can learn more about our partnership there, what we're trying to do. You can learn more about our services. You can learn more about breaking free. It is a movement. It's not a program. There is mentorship. There is more. There is a beautiful coming together in November in San Antonio, Texas, a workshop for breaking free. And there is also access to our free spiritual community on Mighty Network. So I hope you come join us. I hope you come find us, and bless you all.
Wonderful. And for those of you who made it to the end, you can find me at AnneMarieTheArtOfHealing.com. Please like, subscribe, and share. I have an amazing Patreon community where we meet together at least twice a month. And I also have a new thing going on where I meet twice a month on a Saturday, on Saturdays, every other Saturday, to bring light and focus light onto dark structures to accelerate ascension, which we all need. So if you're interested in that, you can find that under the events tab of AnneMarieTheArtOfHealing.com. And should you need any energetic work, you can find me there as well. I am here for you. Thank you, and I love you all. Mwah!